this regional project that has been designed by two partners, basically SCiDEV and the Center for Education Policies in Serbia. However, it would not have been possible without the support of the Open Society Foundations in Serbia and in Albania, and we are grateful for the support and happy to have representatives here today. I would like just briefly to introduce the program and why we are here today. The Regional Youth Leadership Mobility Program seeks to empower youth in terms of their research and leadership competencies for active participation in public life and in regional cooperation. Through an open call for application, we have selected 8 young women and men to do a research mobility program in Belgrade and in Tirana in this spring. We will provide them with capacity building, mentoring, mobility opportunity, and they will conduct research with a comparative aspect in 2 broad topics, let's say digitalization and participation. And some of them will work also on the impact of digitalization on education. Our aim is for them to use these research findings, this data that they will produce for advocacy actions. This is also based on one of the pillars of the work of SCiDEV, but also the Center for Education Policies, that has to do with the value of using data and research for informing activism, participation, and advocacy for good governance. And the other dimension of the program is, of course, intercultural exchange and cooperation. And this is why today we also have representatives from RYL, the Regional Youth Cooperation Office, and the Western Balkan Fund, because they are 2 organizations with a strong profile at the regional level that have contributed as well to regional cooperation and to youth empowerment in particular. Yesterday, while we were welcoming the candidates in our offices, one of them rightly so said that this program is like a mini Erasmus for the Western Balkans. So we try to learn from other experiences, and today it's very much about promoting the program and launching the program, but also about exchanging ideas and exchanging experience and lessons learned from other partners on how we can do this best. Of course, we hope that this program will impact the academic and professional career of our candidates, but also their personal life. And as I mentioned to them yesterday, we really look forward for them to become the ambassadors of this program and to promote regional cooperation, intercultural exchange furthermore, and also, as I mentioned, empowering the future leaders of the region. We will hear more about the program later on, and we will also hear more about the concrete research proposals and the mobility programs that our candidates will do. But before that, and without further ado, I would like to give the floor to our panelists today. And just one small note, we are today physically here in this room, but also we have other colleagues, partners, friends who have joined online over Zoom, and we are live stream on Facebook as well. So thank you everybody once more for joining in either way. And let me give the floor now to Mr. Andy Dobroshi, Regional Coordinator for Open Society Foundations in the Western Balkans and Executive Director at Open Society Foundation in Albania. Mr. Dobroshi, the floor is yours, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Bleriana. And first of all, good morning to everyone online and live here. It's a real pleasure to welcome our friends and colleagues from Serbia and coming from the organizations. We advantage ourselves for good weather, so we ordered good weather also for you, so we can make sure that the backdrop of this initial phase of the cooperation, it's sunny and not gloomy. There are enough gloomy events around us now with what is happening in Ukraine and everything else. So I think this in some sense also puts a different context also on this project, because these are regions which we cannot, these are events that we cannot escape. I mean, they're really next to our in our backyard, and it shows also how important is not only the cooperation, because the cooperation for the sake of cooperation, this is a jargon which you hear every time, leadership, cooperation, youth, all the organizations, all the projects, etc. But our intention in this work, was to basically give a different different format and different flavor to the format of cooperation. You know, you don't see many. We're talking with Miki like for the past year basically, and I thank him for the also the cooperation and the open mind. You know, like to start this project together because regional cooperation is one of the main highlights of the work in the region, not only for our foundations, but for all the international organization, the regional council, colleagues that are here in the panel who represent that much better than myself, like in this respect. But we thought, like, listen, why don't we start? Why don't we start with something more small, something modest? And then we see how it goes, and of course there were issues, in how much skepticism this initiative would face on, what would be basically the energy behind and the willingness of the organizations to come. And I think I'm very surprised, because it is going well, and it is a very good omen for what comes after, in terms of the project. Liliana mentioned that this looks like a mini Erasmus, and I think I couldn't find a better word for that. But overall for us, and I'm not an expert on youth issues, I mean, I look enviously at youth now as our age moves on, but I think for me, the first and foremost, this is the inspiration that we draw from this project. I mean, youth they come in this environment like without prejudice, without baggages, without all the negative energies that the region in the past has carried and has done, and it's not easy, to get rid of the past, So this for us was not only a mark to basically initiate the cooperation, and between two countries, between the youth, etc., but basically to plant few small trees, like which we hope that will grow in the future, and who will also be kind of safeguards against many evils of the past. I think that's very important. Getting to know each other, I think, and understanding, I think, what the youth represent in both countries, and I think youth doesn't share only the vision, but shares only the hopes, the European hopes for the future, which are not a rhetoric, but I think these are very, very strong common grounds, of youth in both countries and the region beyond. I mean, we're discussing with Miki yesterday, our colleagues in Macedonia also want to join the project, so obviously, from the initial interest, now we're getting interest from other colleagues in the region, and we do hope that this will expand also further. Now we are 5 panelists, so I think I'm going to stop here to give time also to the esteemed colleagues in the panel. I wish you the best success in the event. I wish you a very nice day in Tirana. We'll ensure that the sunny weather is going to continue also over the weekend. So if you want to remain, please do so. And I look forward to the next event. Gladly. So thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much also for highlighting the importance of cooperation in the context in which we found ourselves yesterday morning when we woke up, in what we had hoped that would never happen in the 21st century, considering of what we've been witnessing also in this region. And also for mentioning, I really like the expression safeguards of evil of the past, but also for hopes for the future. So that's hopefully this will be the contribution of the program as well. As you said, we are starting small, only with 8 young candidates, but we are looking forward to build synergies and cooperation with other actors and to strengthen this further. And now I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Milorad Milosavljević, Executive Director at Open Society Foundation in Serbia. Miki, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, actually. And I think we'll learn better our names as well. Veriana was very, very good in pronouncing mine, because we have to start from the basics, actually, it seems to me, even though we live so close. So as Andy and Veriana actually said, most of the important things. That I think I could share with you a personal story which is really important to me, and that which makes me actually even more firm that we are doing a good thing actually with these initiatives. Actually, this is my first official trip actually after the outburst of COVID in 2020. You know, I'm not sure if you traveled officially anywhere, but this is my first trip after the March 2020, and I'm very happy that it's Tirana, that it's not some other place. I think at this moment of uncertainty, the moment of crisis, which Andy described so eloquently, I think there is no better place for us to be than Tirana, and this is value in itself in the beginning. The second thing is that when I was packing my suitcase, you know, I was ironing my shirts. Don't laugh at it. Yeah, like, and actually my wife approached me while I was ironing my shirts. I thought maybe she will take over the job, but no, she approached me to ask me a favor. You know, like, she got an invitation. She is teaching at the university in Belgrade, and she got an invitation from the Albanian university for kind of cooperation, you know, but she didn't know anyone in Albania or anyone in that university or anyone in any other university in Albania to ask whether this university is credible. It is private university in Albania. So you know how it can be with private universities in the Western Balkans. So there was no one she could ask actually here about, you know, this university, whether it's credible, whether the invitation to cooperate is credible, and so on and so forth. And it was really surprising to me, you know, that the university in Belgrade has no, at least her faculty has no official cooperation with someone that close. We are all working on the same issues. We are working all towards same goals, and we do not know, you know, anyone who is working on the same goals and implementing the same methodologies, same tools in our neighboring country. And this is what makes me really firm in the belief that we are doing a good job, you know, like. And this is also what the purpose of the civil society organizations, NGOs actually is, to go off the beaten track, you know, like not to go where the politicians go, not to go where the people have already been, and we didn't like these places where we've been in the past. So this is the role actually of our partners in this project, to go off the beaten track, to find the ways, to show the way, and show us how the future might look like. So since I'm so excited about this initiative, I was speaking in many panels recently in Belgrade about this initiative, about exchange we are going to support, about young people from Albania coming to Belgrade or other parts of Serbia, if possible, in the future, and vice versa. You know, and I was often questioned, like, what's new in this initiative? What's unique about what you're doing? You know, like, we've seen this already, and so on and so forth. And there is nothing unique about this initiative. Like, youth exchange programs are the programs that are, you know, being implemented in projects that work towards the making closer connections between societies. And this is exactly what we want to achieve with this program. I'm very happy that we have also here representatives of other organizations that work towards same goals. Like RYL is doing a very important job, but RYL's mandate, for example, is multilateral. RYL, if I'm not wrong, RYL can't go with bilateral exchanges as we are now trying to start with. And I'm very happy that North Macedonian Foundation will soon join us in this initiative. So we will have a kind of open Balkan youth exchange initiative, and hoping to expand it even further. I've recently learned about the Mladi Rini initiative. Maybe you've heard about it. You know, this is also another platform for exchange of papers among think tankers and young scientists and young activists. So this is also another piece of the puzzle that will make our cooperation even more fruitful and richer in the future. And what my hope is that the business will follow the civil society. The university is a part of civil society, but the university and our schools will follow, that politicians will follow, and that at some point in future, in very close future, we will all meet and have like a massive exchange and massive possibilities to utilize the new tools and new opportunities that are emerging in our society. So these are my hopes. And sorry for privatizing the panel, but I thought it was important, you know, to share this private angle or personal angle into this whole story. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Miki. I have three highlights from what you said. The first about access and entry points, which is so relevant. And we saw this when we were trying to identify the youth. Of course, we opened the call for applications, and maybe we will have a chance to discuss this later on the challenges of reaching those that are out of the usual suspects, let's say, or the normal ones that we usually work with. And networking is very important. Yesterday, we were mentioning to our candidates that one of the options for their mobility is for our organization to facilitate their cooperation with universities. Some of them are PhD candidates, some of them have completed their master and are looking forward to do their PhD. So while they will be in Belgrade or in Tirana, they will have a chance to get to know lecturers or peers from the universities related to their field. So that's another spillover effect to strengthen this cooperation between academia and university. And the third one, maybe this is biased because we are so passionate and committed to this program, we kind of believe that we have a unique aspect that is related to the research aspect of the mobility. So they are coming for exchange, they are coming for mobility, but they will be mentored to conduct research and to do advocacy action based on that data. And I think this is the added value of the program. We will see if 1 month is enough or not, but we are harnessing the opportunities offered by digitalization. So the e-learning and the mentoring will continue also after the mobility, thanks to the digital tools at our disposal. And now I would like to hear from those who are more experienced than us. As you all mentioned, RYCO, Regional Youth Cooperation Office, strong organization, strong profile in terms of intercultural exchange, peace building and regional cooperation. They all sound so relevant today. And I would like to give the floor to Ines Bulajic, project coordinator for the Regional Volunteer Program, RUT WB6. Ines, please kindly share some of the experience, but also the work that RUT and RYCO does in this regard. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Valeriana. It's my pleasure being here and witnessing the launch of this, as you presented, unique program. For us in Regional Youth Cooperation Office, and me personally, it is also very important that the other speakers outlined the context that we are living in, which once again shows the need to work on peace building and reconciliation, not only in this region, but also throughout Europe and worldwide. What we do in Regional Youth Cooperation Office, as you already mentioned, which is, as we would like to say, our core business, are actually youth exchanges. In regards to that, 2021 was a very challenging year for all of us. We were continuing implementing projects from the third and the fourth open call for proposals. And we launched, we also continued working on a business incubator, because we have a project that also covers social entrepreneurship. It's called RISE. And of course, it's important to note it's a regional project as well. And of course, we have presented two programs. One is Super Schools, which is supported by the European Commission and GIZ, and which encourages mobility of the Western schools in the Western Balkans. And the other one is the one that I was coordinating for the past 2 years, RUT Western Balkans 6, which is dealing with the regional volunteering. This is the first program of its kind that is covering the region of the Western Balkans 6. But what is also important to note is that this is the first program that was developed by young people for the young people. How it happened? Basically, in RYCO, we tend to involve young people also in the program design process, not only in the implementation. So our program was formed through very innovative, I would say, design thinking methodology, where we had workshops where based on the inputs that we received from young people, we have created the program and its modalities through 3 exchanges. These were mini, midi, and maxi. Mini covered the exchanges up to 7 days. Midi covered the exchanges up to 2 weeks. And the longest one was maxi, which was covering up to 2 months volunteering throughout the Western Balkans. Was it challenging to develop? Yes, it was. We were developing it, we were in the middle of the process when the pandemic started. So imagine developing it where we were closed in our homes. We were not even able to go out when we wanted to. And we were like developing a regional mobility program of this kind. It was very challenging. Even in 2021, where we have finalized and validated and come with this pilot program, it was a bit difficult to predict what can be implemented. Will the physical exchanges be possible at all? But we decided to risk because we received the feedback from young people that they are not interested in online exchanges. And we did risk. And now for me, it's a bit, strange hearing that someone has a first, official travel now, because we were traveling the whole summer with our volunteers, because we felt that we need to be, maybe it was not even our role overall to be on the ground, and with more than 180 volunteers that we have exchanged throughout this summer in 4 months, but we felt obliged to be there to take additional care for them and to be involved to the maximum extent to what was happening during this summer and autumn. So as I said, we exchanged more than 180, the exact number is 183 young people throughout the region. We have cooperated with 24 civil society organizations, mostly through festivals and sports manifestations, but also with, for example, the concepts of Tirana Youth Capital and the Novi Sad Youth Capital, namely with National Youth Congress here in Albania and Opens in Serbia, where we also did a volunteering action of creating the murals of peace, where the artists from Tirana came to Novi Sad to create the mural, and vice versa, the ones from Novi Sad came to Tirana. So for us, it was very, very, very challenging time. But now, when the project is reaching its end in 1 month, and we are having one final activity of the peace building caravan through the Western Balkans, I would say that we really, not only on this project level succeeded, but also, I would say from the personal perspective, as someone who unfortunately has gone through the war, because I originally come from Bosnia and Herzegovina, it was also eye-opening for me. It's always easy for us to say that we don't have prejudices. Unfortunately, we all have. And for me, it was also personally very useful to break my own prejudices, because sometimes we were discussing, sometimes we were expecting heated discussions on one place, and we would get them where we expected them the least. Sometimes we were also surprised by the way the participants connected with each other. We wanted really to put the accent on their personal relations, on the development of their skills, and not on the fact that they may find a job after volunteering, although this happened twice. So for us, it was also a very eye-opening experience, and because this is also the first, let's say, individual exchanges type of exchange that RYL was doing in the past 5 years, because RYL was founded in 2016. So for us, it also was something really unique. And I really encourage that this type of the regional exchanges are developed further. I really like this fact that you presented that the young people will also work on research and in their own advocacy actions, because this is also input that we received from our program, which is, I think, useful to share. And that is that they would like to have their small volunteer projects that they would implement in the local community they were volunteering in. So I think this is a very good opportunity, and I've kind of envied to young people who will be involved. I wish that something similar was was present when I was much younger. And I hope that you will use every single moment of it, because as I always say to our volunteers, when we have the opportunity to talk, it will be also easier for you in, I don't know, 5 to 10 years to work in the kind of organization we now work in, like this regional youth cooperation office, where you have people from all over the Western Balkans. It will be easier for you to understand these people when you have the previous experience of this kind that you will have through this program. So I wish you a very successful beginning of the program, and I hope that we, as a Regional Youth Cooperation Office, will be involved in it as well at some point.
Thank you very much, Ines. Yes, I will take your word on that because we really want to further this cooperation. And I would like to highlight the design thinking aspect you said. So that's a lesson learned for us and the suggestion, I guess, if we will work on it, and hopefully we will, for a second phase or an expansion of the program, designing the program with youth is something that you mentioned that has been proven useful. So we want to work on that as well. And also it's very interesting and to see how young people perceive the opportunity for digital mobility. And it's for the purpose of this program and for intercultural exchange, definitely we need physical mobility. So that's very good that young people see it in the same way. Yesterday, our candidates had an opportunity to do a guided tour of Tirana and visit also the church and the mosques and various sites in Tirana. And it was very good starting point for these exchanges and breaking the barriers, let's say, of the past. And now we go to Mrs. Dafina Bećiri from the Western Balkan Fund as well, experience in regional cooperation in providing funding for civil society organization, but also for universities. So here we link in the aspect of research as well. Dafina, thank you for coming, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here. And now I realize that you come from Serbia. Welcome to Albania. So yes, as Blerina introduced me, I come from the Western Balkans Fund. We are established since 2017. Officially, we started by Ministries of Foreign Affairs. When I joined Western Balkans Fund, I have envisioned that since Ministries of Foreign Affairs are involved, this organization must be boring because diplomats work within their framework and they do not have a lot of creativity, at least from my perspective. So when we started, we were not very much clear what we are going to do. We just knew that we are going to provide grants for civil society sector. And then slowly, we started, based on the needs that we had from our region, that we should make it more like, leave it to the region, what they want, and not us to tell them what to do. So what we did, we only established 3 areas of intervention where our grants can focus on: cultural cooperation, education and scientific exchange, and sustainable development. However, we knew that there are a lot of cross-cutting issues, and having RYL here, we didn't want to take the youth from them. So we left youth as a cross-cutting issues. So in this case, we have received, like from 2017 until now, we have read around 1,500 applications, project applications. And we noticed that we as Western Balkans Fund at the beginning, our mission was very broad, like, yes, we promote and support regional cooperation, but the idea was to make it more tangible in a way that we can enhance people-to-people connection, mobility, and that can be done only through internships, just like you are doing, mentorship, and other capacity development activities that can make people learn from each other. And we know that one internship cannot provide you with the whole understanding. We know that this internship can only set the platform for you to communicate and to open yourself to start understanding. And we have supported projects in different topics. We started the first project, I remember in 2019, it was Dođi na Amfi in Niš. And we sent around 5 young artists in Niš. And for them, it was so exciting to perform in Niš. They didn't speak Serbian, but everyone in Niš welcomed them wholeheartedly, and they spoke English, Albanian, I don't know what language, but when they came, they wanted to do something similar in Tirana. So for us, it was a nice idea that we managed to inspire people. So this project should be inspiring for you to start something your own. Now, for the moment, I think that I can truly say that as a organization being established by the government, led by the government, but working for the community, it is really interesting to see how much youth has lost the faith in governments. And in all of the places, like, let's say, I remember in 2019, I think, there was an organization who was doing, they were implementing a project with all contracting parties, and they were like, oh, it's good that this project is not going to be supported by the government. And we were like, sorry, but this is money coming from your government. And she was like, hell no. And we said, yes, but how come I didn't have to pay anyone? I mean, we have these stereotypes that our governments are corrupted, and we keep promoting that stereotype even outside of our countries, which is bad. And I think that youth should stop it, because it's not something good, and it's not like that. We do not have any facts in that regard. We just assume that it's like that. So, and it was so funny to see that the civil society sector continues to spread that stereotype, even to you as young people. So I think that this is a great opportunity when we have exchange. And next week, I don't know if you're going to be here, I'm inviting you to a huge conference that we are organizing on hate speech. And that came as a result of our internal assessment that communication is the key of any kind of cooperation. And we cannot even assume that we can work together if we do not start communicating with each other. And we are going to have experts coming from Europe, from regional, Western Balkan region. And we are going to tackle a lot of topics, which I'm cordially inviting you to be part of it. Blerina can share the invitation. And we noticed that those kind of events like this one and the one that we are organizing and RYL, that is very much closer to youth, not only helps us, but also helps us question our mindsets. Like what has been told to us, what we inherited, like what kind of stereotypes we should question more and more, like why we think this way, why we think that way. So I think that we all together, we can help in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dafina, for also I take from your speech the people-to-people connection and the importance of that, and trying to make changes in personal life and building and multiplying this change then step by step. We cannot change everything with one project within 1 year, or with one event, but yes, inspiring young people, supporting, mentoring them, and hoping for the change to come after that. And now I'd like to invite my colleague Ivana Čenerić from the Center for Education Policies. We've worked together on the design of this program and on its implementation. So if you could just highlight some of the aspects of the program and how we have envisaged it to be implemented and what are the next steps that we're going to work on. Thank you for coming to Tirana, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bleriana, and thanks everybody who joined online and in person. And first, I need really to thank you for being like the most amazing partner in this whole thing and the most welcoming host. You made us all feel like we are eager to come back. That is the only feeling that we are living with now. So you mentioned some things about this program, but the important thing is what Ines said, that when we started designing it, we were thinking about what we didn't have when we were at that age and what we would like really to that we were able to experience, because especially for my generation, region was not really something very familiar. For us, it was like, you know, we have to reconciliate with a strange relative or something like that. So we during this process learned that those bridges are not so easy to build back, because when we started promoting this program, searching for applicants, youth in Serbia is not really open for this kind of opportunity, and we had really tough time to try to find the right channels to find our future activists. Like you see from the title, we wanted to build so much into this program. It is capacity building program, it is a mobility program, it is a youth leadership program, but for us, the most important part was to give our participants enough space to grow. So we would like to be here only as facilitators. We will provide all the support, we will give capacity building, but we really wanted them to have their own research that will not be only academic research, that will not only result in policy paper or research paper, but that will also have some kind of advocacy component that will be able to live on beyond this program. So of course, we designed this program to start with the capacity building that will kind of rely on some things that we want to share as policy centers, as research centers, to share with them expertise about methodology and research, but also we wanted to help them with their topics. So we will provide them sessions about the areas of their interest, like digitalization, youth participation, higher education, and so on. And they will also have an opportunity to fine-tune their topics and their research ideas, because in this program, it is envisioned that they all cooperate, and maybe they can complement each other with their research and with during their staying here, during their exchange, and after on. After the capacity building program, we will start with the mobility component. They won't be at the same time in hosting country. We want them to be host to their visiting colleagues. So they will be in different times. When colleagues from Serbia come to Albania, their Albanian colleagues will also be there to help them and to kind of guide them through the country and to navigate them with their research. And also our Serbian participants will do the same for them. During that time, they will work on their research. After that, they will have some time to finalize it. And then we want to promote what they have done, but also to kind of give them a jump start in their planned advocacy actions. So what they envisioned to have after this program, we want to actually the end of this program to be the start of their programs. And we really hope that, like you mentioned, the other countries will be interested and to join in initiatives like this, and that we are sending a good and positive message of hope from this place now when the whole world is dividing. We are now talking about cooperation and unity. So I think that it is a wrong time, but we chose the right moment to give leadership to the youth, because I think that they now have the energy and the motivation to fix what we maybe couldn't fix before. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you very much, Ivana, for highlighting the features of our program. I'm looking at the phone because we have received comments on Zoom, and I take this opportunity to invite all participants who have joined us online that if they have questions or comments, please write on the Zoom chat, and we will address them in the panel and with our participants. I think Anna Mulani from the Beyond Barriers Association in Albania has written, but we will get back to your questions after we hear from our excellent young selected candidates as part of the Regional Youth Mobility Program. So far we have spoken in their name, so now this is the moment to hear from them. I would like to congratulate all of you for your applications, for your research proposal, and for being selected. And as mentioned by the others, this is the beginning of a journey for you, and hopefully to build synergies with all other things that you are doing, and we can facilitate your growth and your empowerment. So we'll start with Andriana Lazarevic. So this is alphabetically, basically, but now that we know you in many sense, this makes a lot of sense to start from you. So Andriana, the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your motivation, and your research program.
Dobar dan, mirdita. Hello from my side. My name is Andriana, and it's my 7th time actually in Tirana. My first time in the region, my first travel as a student was Tirana. So I'm very glad to be back here. I would like, first of all, to thank the organizers of this amazing program to have us here, to give us the framework and the opportunity to contribute to the regional cooperation and to bring all of us closer. I'm a political scientist, but the most important for me, I would say that I'm a regional advocator, as I know for myself and for my first travel back then. And I have to say that I'm very thankful to Corona because I never felt closer to the region than in Corona time. With the green corridors and everything that our governments were doing, for me, that was really a plus for us that we really used in the best possible way to make everything we can in order to cooperate in so many different fields. And I also like to thank to Mr. Savic from the Embassy of Serbia to be here, because for us as young people, it's very important to feel the support of our country on that level. Also, because without that political, let's say, support, nothing can be done. That's what my experience shows to me from all the projects I participated in. My motivation to come to Tirana and to contribute to this project was something maybe beyond myself. I feel that I'm doing something in present time for future, for people to be more included, and for those who are actually watching us via Zoom. I would also like to call them actually to watch, to be in line with what we are doing now, for them to participate in the coming years. And what I want to do is to conduct a research in the field of dual education. Last year, my first, after Corona, let's say, event was back in Novi Sad. We organized a huge conference. We also had a political level, the presidents, the prime ministers, also the business sector, and also 50 participants from presenting youth in the region. And actually, we had the most businessmen coming from the Albania. So for me, that was a really good sign, and also place for something new, to invent something new. And I saw that there is a will between business sector and youth to cooperate together. So I would like just to research what are the possibilities for dual education in a higher sector, in the higher education, sorry, in Tirana, and what we are doing in Serbia. Maybe we have some lessons learned to exchange. So that's all. I'm really looking forward to get to know more about Albania. Yesterday was a perfect day, so I'm really looking forward for the month to be just like yesterday. Thank you very much, and I would like to thank in advance to my colleagues. We will do this together, so for something better. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. Thank you very much. And now we have Diego. Sorry, the microphone. He's in Italy, but has joined us over Zoom. Diego, the floor is yours. The digital floor is yours. Can you hear us? Are you there?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Brianna, for this opportunity. I would like very much to be with you in Tirana today, but this is not possible for some personal engagement. Anyway, I'm joining via Zoom, and I think this program is designed to address one of the core issues facing Western Balkans, all the region in this time. Actually, my research focus has a regional focus on digitalization sector, especially on the inclusive of education system digitalization. You are used to listen to speaking about digitalization in Western Balkans mainly by politicians, and speaking in terms of infrastructure and broadband connectivity and other aspects of digital infrastructure, but we are not really used to listen what's the role of education system in digitalization sector. If you look at most advanced countries who actually have pushed forward digitalization, we can notice that education system, it's at the core of digital transition and is driving digital society. Just to take an illustration, digital index for economy and society from European Commission, which is annually released, we can notice that Western Balkan countries are behind, let's say, in digitalization process, and especially in terms of digital literacy and other aspects concerning digital accessibility. So I think we have to acknowledge the fact that digital transition is not simply a matter of investing and intervening in public policy, but I think it's a structural challenges which we have to to have a better understanding, and which might also help us to have in next decades a prosperous future, having in mind all the related aspects of digitalization, such as inclusiveness, I'm sorry, or accessibility and participation by digital means. So by spending a month in Serbia, I think will help me to have a better understanding of the context there and how the digitalization process, especially in education success, is going on, and how we can improve and advocate to decision makers to make digitalization process more accessible towards education system. Thank you so much, and thanks again for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Diego. Looking forward to meet you in person in Tirana and also to your mobility in Belgrade. And now I would like to give the floor to Endrita Shehu. She is here with us today. Endrita, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Endrita Shehu. I've graduated in the field of political science and international relations in Istanbul as a full scholarship holder. Currently, I work as a policy researcher at the European Movement Albania. I've lived in Belgrade. I speak Serbian, so for me, this was a starting point. I've witnessed firsthand the skepticism of young people and their hesitation to engage in these kind of programs. So my research will be based on an analysis and data gathering of young people who will build bridges and break these barriers, and the methods that they have used. For example, there's a festival called Mirdita Dobar Dan. So I want to see the number of people who participated there. I want to see, do a gender stratification and see who is more prone to cooperation. Maybe the results from this research will serve as a starting point for institutions to draft action plans and agreements that will facilitate further cooperation and for young people and for stakeholders like us. I think that's it. I'm looking forward to a fruitful cooperation, and thank you to the organizers for this event.
Thank you, Endrita, very much. If this mobility program, this pilot program, is any indication in terms of gender and regional cooperation, so the balance is clear. We have 6 young women and only 2 young men, but hopefully more gender balance in the next phase of the program. Liliana Kolarski, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I will have to repeat the words of my colleague and thank you all, both the organization team from Albania and from Serbia, because you recognize the need, you recognize the importance of a regional mobility for youth, for the youth engagement. So I'm very thankful, and I'm looking forward to cooperate with my colleagues. So I'm Liliana Kolarski, I'm 26, and I come from one city, which is the capital, European capital culture, which is Novi Sad. I have to mention that, which I'm very proud of it. But I work in Belgrade. I'm a PhD student and a faculty of political sciences at Belgrade. And when it comes to this project, together with my colleague Andriana, we participated in many projects. But what makes this project completely different and what's the advantage is definitely and to stay here for 1 year, because we come from a post-conflict for 1 month, hopefully 1 year, wishful thinking, yes, because since we are a post-conflict country, there are a lot of prejudice, a lot of stereotypes, and I would like us, both from Albanian participants and Serbia participants, to be ambassadors here to debunk all these myths that exist, because that's the only way we can cooperate together. And I'm very glad that I have a colleague here, Diego, and we have a similar topic, which is digitalization, that we will work together to elaborate what are the systems we can improve here when it comes to higher education and just to connect young people and academia here. So thank you very much. I'm glad to be part of it.
Thank you very much, Liliana. And now I'd like to give the floor to Marina Joka from Tirana.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marina Joka and I'm 23 years old, but everybody calls me Marina. I was born and raised in Tirana and I live here with my family. I hold a Master of Science degree in International Relations, and I have done previous studies on Bachelor of Archaeology and Cultural Heritage. I want to thank the organizers for designing this mobility, which helped us youngsters to go further with our careers that we are just starting them. Since my infancy, I have to mention that I have been interested in history and archaeology because I think that without knowing the past well and taking lessons from it, we cannot create a better future for ourselves. So related to that, my research topic will be related to youngsters' interest in cultural heritage sites and which are the ways we can promote them, even in digital way, so they can be more visitable from youngsters, because I see this as a value of collective memory, which is very important even for states' identity. I am very happy to be chosen and grateful to participate in this program, and I hope we all have a good experience. So thank you once again for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Marime. And now Mila Vukovic, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for your hospitality. My name is Mila Vukovic, and I have my BA in Scandinavian languages and my MA in cultures and dialogue. I am currently working at IOM as a project coordinator for the education component of migrant students in Serbia. Now my project in this program is based on peer violence, and what is the way to prevent it or at least reduce it, which is the main result I would like to achieve by this project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mila. I would like to now give the digital floor to Jensila Mirashi. She is another candidate from Albania that will join the program, but living and studying in Korça in the southeast, and join us today via Zoom. Jensila, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jensila Mirashi. I am journalist, activist, and I am youth researcher in the field of the media and intercultural communication. I'm very thankful to be part of this project. My research topic is Open Balkan in the lens of Albanian and Serbian youth, culture, digimedia, and activism bridges, which aims to reorganize the perspective of Albania's and Serbia's youth through the Open Balkans as a bridge of communication and cooperation between the youth of the two countries in the field of culture, digimedia, and activism. Through this research, I want to give my contribution to the elimination of historical and cultural barriers between two countries and to convey the voice of the youth facing a new perspective of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jensila. And last but not least, also the youngest participants in the program, Jason Doka. The floor is yours.
Yes. Hi, I'm Jason Doka, and sorry, I'm sweating from emotion. I'm 23 years old, and currently I'm a master's student at criminal law at University of Tirana. Firstly, I want to thank SCiDEV and SCiDEV for organizing this mobility, which will help us to improve our leadership and research skills. So my aim is to bring a study about underrepresentation of young people who want to get involved in politics or in politics, and giving answers about some cases like do they really represent a new alternative, or are they just a new copycat of old politicians. So the study will try to conclude about young candidate difficulties, and bring a comparison between Albania and Serbia. So that's in general about me, and hope we all bring contribution with our research. Thank you all.
I'm sure you'll do, you all do. We are looking forward to see the results of your research and your advocacy actions. We are here to facilitate that. And of course, we will keep all the communication channels open with the partners, RYL and WBF, but also other organizations to make the experience as meaningful as possible for all of you, and to expand this model and this experience and offer this opportunity to other young persons. Thank you all, the panelists and our young participants here today. Now we have a question in the Zoom chat that I would like with that to open the floor for discussions and reflections from all participants. Pani from Beyond Barriers Associations from Albania has written, Beyond Barriers, I think most of you probably know them, have 17 years of experience in the youth sector and also working on volunteering in Albania. So the question is, how do you see the role of youth NGOs from the region? How can we contribute to involve them further in initiatives of mobility and exchange, I suppose? So the question is open for the panel, but also for the panelists if they want to share some ideas. Yes, Ines, please. Thank you.
Maybe I can start, because Beyond Barriers are our partners in the program. I can see it from the perspective of the Regional Youth Cooperation Office and also my personal perspective. For us, it was, first of all, from the side of being intergovernmental organization, extremely important to have the perspective from the side of the NGO. This is, sometimes we don't have also the same understanding of the concept or the same understanding of the organization of the, but for us, it was refreshing to have it, also their experience, because we, as a Regional Youth Cooperation Office, as I said, we didn't have this kind of experience in volunteerism as such. It was extremely important to have reliable partners who, first of all, on the content side, know what they're doing. They have also a background in the field and everything, but also from the other side, what was important for us is this advocacy component, where they are mapping what is missing in the current legislation, the current implementation of the laws. So not only in Albania, but of course in all other contracting parties, we had a partner, and we had advisory partner as CYN, Southeast European Youth Network, because the perspective from the other side is something that is really, really important for us when it comes not only to volunteering as such as a field, but also youth policies in general. So for us as an intergovernmental organization, and as it was, this was basically the first project of RYL that had project partners as in civil society sector, in all the contracting parties, it was extremely important to have them, and we relied on them, and I hope that they were also able to rely on us when it comes to some other aspects. I think this kind of cooperation between the different mechanisms is extremely important if we want to achieve a certain goal, because if we, the synergy going from two or many or even more than two sides, it's extremely important if we want to come to the end goal. So I think from our perspective, this kind of cooperation showed really that it has many, many advantages. And in the future, we would like to continue this way of cooperating when it comes at least to this topic.
Thank you, Ines. Sure, of course.
No, thanks a lot for the question from the organization. I forgot her name. Anna. Yeah, because no, just the fact, just one advice, you know, when you say you've worked for 17 years experience on youth, you know, that doesn't make you so young, you know. But I'm just a joke, you know, like you know, it's very important. I just wanted to make a comment because the last 3 days, and we've been working also with Beyond Barriers, and it's a very good and solid organization. Last 3 days, we had under the Swiss-funded project, we had open competition idea under the project Leviz Albania or Move Albania, funded by the Swiss Development Corporation, Swiss Embassy, and it was specifically on youth. The whole project was the whole last call, you know, the 9th call was geared towards youth, you know, youth. Voluntarism, like whether, you know, youth and environment. So we're trying to identify issues, and one of the most interesting things and topics, since I sit in that board, you know, and I was listening to like, I think over 60 projects that were pitched in front of the board, was the fact like, you know, whom this organization represents, you know, the issue of legitimacy, which is to me is crucial, especially with the youth, you know, because you have many people who speak on behalf of youth, you have many organizations who speak on behalf of youth, many donors who want to see, etc. But in the end, you know, like you want to understand, like, okay, these organizations that come, you know, in front of you, like, and they pitch ideas and they tell you that they're going to work on youth and the youth is so important, they understand that, etc. Where do they find the youth? You know, we had issues, for example, we had projects ideas like, we're going to work with 50 young people, you know, we're going to work with 200 young people, we're going to reach like 5,000 young people, you know, and you're seeing like, and when you listen to all these projects and all these ideas and what we do, you know, like, you think like, you know, it's strange that youth have problems in our region, you know, like we should have solved them everything by now, you know. And I think the missing cracks, the missing issue there, the missing link is exactly the legitimacy, you know, that comes, you know. And I think that's one of the strengths of this project today is your legitimacy. You're young, you know, you represent youth, and you are doing and you are carrying over projects and ideas that come basically genuinely represent your interest, you know, on the topics and on the issues. And that's why I mentioned at the beginning that for us, this is just planting the few trees, you know, like now, but it's very important to keep it, our idea is to keep it as further as possible from the bureaucracy or the traps of the non-governmental organizations, NGOs, etc., who willingly or unintentionally, like they fall in the trap of the donors because they are driven by funding, you know, like we don't want to do that. I mean, basically, we want this process to be seen to be driven by youth, you know, because the developments are so fast now. Everything is moving so quickly is that, I mean, we have difficulties to understand our kids, you know, like let alone, you know, the youth that is evolving with such a pace and such speed, you know, that it becomes very difficult also for us to understand sometime, you know, like, and I think articulating these needs and these ideas that you have, for me, it's the most interesting thing, and the point of, I would say, like a source of energy also for us, you know, in terms of keeping us with an open mind, young as well, you know. So I think personally, I draw lots of inspiration from these projects and from you. Because it responds to needs that are very crucial for the future and development of the region, whatever it is, you know, like economic, regional, etc. I think for me, the regional cooperation cannot stay at the top. It has to start at the bottom. And I think youth is extremely crucial to provide the necessary fuel for that cooperation, you know. So just thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Andy, Miki, would you like to add something?
Just shortly, I think
Sure.
this is really important to underline what Andy said. Civil society organizations, it's not a model of representative democracy. So we don't need anyone to represent like youth. The civil society is the model of participatory democracy. So we need to have like people who have these ideas and these brilliant ideas. I'm really encouraged when I heard these ideas. We need to have them to participate. And if you look at the major breakthroughs, post-conflict breakthroughs in Serbian Albanian relations, like somebody mentioned Mirdita in Belgrade, you know, these initiatives came from the civil society. Now it's easier to follow. Now it's easier, you know, like we had something that we could not imagine like a decade ago, to have Albanian flags all over the bridge across Sava River in Belgrade. You know, this is something that we could not imagine. I think that the pathway for that was put on by the civil society organizations, by people who represent themselves and their communities, and this is really important for us all.
Yes, and I think one aspect of the youth-led organization that will help the program, in addition to providing more opportunities to the candidates that we have selected, but we look to cooperate with them in Albania and in Belgrade also for identifying other youth in the future. So we talked about aspects of access and reaching those with fewer opportunities, and youth-led organizations or umbrella organization are a good starting point also to identify identify youth outside of the capital, let's say, outside of the normal networks that we are used to work with, to provide more opportunities to those that don't have them and to involve them even more. At least for the mobility in Tirana, we've already have some ideas of the partners to work with. It is the year of Tirana being a European youth capital. So that's another opportunity that plenty of events will happen and that the young people can engage, but also meet and connect with other peers and with other organizations. But I do recognize the challenge of the legitimacy of civil society organization and of representing or speaking on behalf of youth. So as Ivana said, I'd like to echo, so we will facilitate for them, we will enable them, but they will do things themselves. So even the mobility program has a balance between having a detailed agenda and leaving them their own free time to navigate, to explore their topics, but also the towns, the people and the organizations that they want to work with. We don't have any more comments or questions on Zoom, but I don't know from the participants today in the room, if they would like to add something, you are welcome. I think I'd like to thank you, Tanya and Claudia as well, who have been very close with us during the design and drafting the program and also its implementation. So if you'd like to share something, you are welcome. And Biljana as well from CEP, a historian and intercultural exchange expert. Dritan, an education, inclusive education expert. So if you'd like to add something, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being the part of this process. I really believe in intercultural exchange. I believe in young, educated people and making the bridges between young professionals, PhD students, students, and so on. I think those are the people that can move the things forward. And what is the most important is that part of advocating and research-based advocating after they finish their studies. It's very important that we advocate based on the research. This is I think the most important and the part that is different than in other youth exchange programs. So I'm really glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm participating. I think we have chosen the best candidates and I really have faith in them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanya, also for the support and the encouragement. I don't want to push anybody to speak if they don't want to. This has been very efficient in terms of time, but Claude, would you like to share something? No? Okay, good. If any other comments or questions or feedback? Okay, good. So thank you very much to all of you for joining us today, for also for sharing your views, your perspectives, and your experience. Of course, we will keep updated all the stakeholders and partners that are here today, but also that we have mapped in the framework of this project with the progress of the work of our young candidates. And we will meet in Belgrade for the final event where we will present the results. But in addition to that, we are also aiming to working with local media, also digital social media, to promote as much as possible the experience of these excellent young candidates and the results of their research and advocacy actions. So thank you once again, and we will of course continue with the dialogue and with the cooperation. Thank you and have a lovely weekend, everybody.